So I was mostly showing off the tech side of it, how to integrate it, use it, what ideas people could take, asking me what their problem was, and then sort of saying, oh, yeah, solution might fit, this might not. So, drones are one part of it. The whole farm, I've got a 2,000 hectare Wi-Fi mesh, a lot of remote sensing, cameras, automation, AI integration into stuff to try and reduce workload and enhance safety, security, all that sort of stuff. So just kind of, ran my little workshops as a chance for people to quiz me, ask me. I listen to their problems, show them some of my tech, talk about my solutions. And the most interesting part was most people kept thinking scale was stopping them changing or fixing bad habits.
From wherever we are, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia, recognising their continuing connection to this land, its waterways, the stars in the skies since time immemorial. We pay our respects to the elders, knowledge holders, and to all the generations of First Nations peoples who have nurtured their unceded sovereign lands for over 80,000 years and continue to do so today.
G'day, I'm your host Charlie Arnott, an 8th generational Australian regenerative farmer. And in this podcast series, I'll be diving deep and exploring my guests' unique perspectives on the world so you can apply their experience and knowledge to cultivate your own transition to a more regenerative way of life.
Welcome to the Regenerative Journey with your host Charlie Arnott.
Well, Bignell, welcome to the Regenerative Journey and welcome to the conclusion of Grounded. Hey, and I caught you just as you are downing your 15,000th lozenge.
Yep.
Try and help it. So hopefully I won't strain your voice too much more. Mate, how are you?
Good.
Are you glad it's
over?
You've had a big couple of days.
Yeah, a lot of talking events, a few demos with all my tech and stuff.
Tell us about, before we get to your impressions of Grounded, because I know you got to see a few people.
Yep.
What were you doing here and kind of why? What's your?
Matt rang me up to ask me to be on the steering committee, help him form the event, which I thought was a good chance. Liked the idea behind it. Sort of offered my services as, I've got some drone tech and AgTech stuff and can talk about things. So I kind of offered myself up as the help create, fill the void, gave me a few lambs as well to cook up for everyone. And just wanted to come down and support like a good community building event like this. And I really like the ethos behind it.
And so you literally, we're sort of just parked behind your truck here where your drones, you did some demos. I missed them. I was interviewing some at the time and the drone was up there and the dogs were going bananas. And then I think the kookaburras got set off by the chainsaw that was going on here the other day.
A bit of saw work.
Tell me about the drones. Like what was the demonstration you did and what did people see?
So I was mostly showing off the tech side of it, how to integrate it, use it, what ideas people could take, asking me what their problem was, and then sort of saying, oh, yeah, solution might fit, this might not. So, drones are one part of it. The whole farm, I've got a 2,000 hectare Wi-Fi mesh, a lot of remote sensing, cameras, automation, AI integration into stuff to try and reduce workload and enhance safety, security, all that sort of stuff. So just kind of, ran my little workshops as a chance for people to quiz me, ask me. I listen to their problems, show them some of my tech, talk about my solutions. And the most interesting part was most people kept thinking scale was stopping them changing or fixing bad habits.
In what way? What's an example of that?
Everyone will say, I'm only small, I've only got a pump and a dam. And I'm like, if it's 100 litres or 1,000 litres or 20,000 litre tank, it's still a pain in the backside to check your tank level, go turn a pump on, after dinner, mid-dinner, go back down, turn the damn thing off, and it didn't quite fill or it's been spilling for the last 2 hours. There's a tech solution for that. That's actually quite affordable, quite bloody simple. And you get a leak in your pipe. You can see it happening. I said, how does that change? If you've got one animal or 10,000 animals, it doesn't change. I think giving people that confidence, because there's just so much solutions looking for a problem out there in the AgTech space, and it's such a thrown out there word. So I suppose I'm a bit of a truth bomber.
Well, that's a good point, because I guess, I mean, that's one of certainly been the development in the last few years of AgTech in a big way. I don't know how that compares to all tech sort of developing in pick an industry. But that seems to be a bit of a thing, like that every conference you go to, there's a lot of tech that's on the table, and it's, farmers aren't traditionally ones that embrace tech readily all the time. It's a bit of a new concept. So, I guess thank you for maybe cutting through the weeds for people to sort of.
Oh yeah, a lot of people out there want to get rich off you, not with you. And that in that drone revolution, like I've been in it since 2012, and it's just it was vulgar, drove me insane.
We're talking big drone, like not little camera droney things. You're talking like
no, these things are like $30,000 each, and we use them for magnetic survey to do mine exploration. Through the VTOL machine, so 4 engines, takes off vertically, transitions into a plane, and then goes fire spotting for 5 hours over the horizon. Airframes like that. So we've also done photogrammetry work for Halter and people like that to do farm maps, and really we just farmers like a big red button, and our clients want that. So we provide a solution like a workflow. That's our value, and that's what the tech is. That's what I say. People that come with just one part of the problem. And joining those dots up, and it's not something you can be taught. It's something to get confident, because you can waste a lot of money. It can get complicated, and you can make your life hell doing it too. Like you can be there pulling your hair out, saying, "Why won't this everything work?" And
also integration as well. Like wouldn't it be nice if there was one kind of program that could pull all these different things in, whether it's drone stuff. I don't even know if that's possible or actually useful, but. Again, the overwhelming thing is there's another platform you're paying for, another subscription you're paying for, and the I guess the confusion of what do I actually need, and then before you know it, you're paying 12 subscriptions. And I'm kind of experiencing this at home and going, actually, hang on, let's just stand back and ask why, look at the dollars, and see can we consolidate some of this stuff. It's a big thing.
That's horrendous. And it's like we've created our own dashboard for the farm. So I can log in, staff can have their layers of profiles and stuff to look at electric fences, water troughs, is a pump running, how many, then the Sparky can log in, look at a variable speed drive, look at my pump curve efficiencies, tune it all remotely, and then just log back off. Doesn't have to come up, do a site visit, stand there on a vibrating pump shed with noisy and crap, and 20 people ringing him. He can just sit down there tonight, and I'll say, hey mate, my pump start up, but let's look at this pipe film. It's, she's cavitating like mad. You can see the data in the pressure drop and the vacuum gauge, and say, oh yeah, it's happening. Just tunes the parameters, re-uploads. Let's see how that goes.
And is this you built this platform?
Yeah, yep. So engage geeks as such, guys that are good at it.
Yeah. And what's it called? Is it commercially available?
Yeah, YMBT. Guy Harold McIntyre.
Say again.
YMBT, I think it is. And it's again guys that were good at doing jail security and all sorts of stuff. And then myself, another farmer, Will Bowden. We had our ideas and solutions. I'd been building Wi-Fi networks for connectivity and safety, and make phone calls when I'm down the back end of my farm. And then I wanted to integrate and whatnot, and it started getting cluttery. I was alt-tabbing and shifting between apps non-stop, and I had some pretty ghetto rigs. But man, I could turn a pivot and the linear on and off, and it cost me $500, not $20,000. And
so the platform it's something you've built with the help of others.
Yeah, the coding and things. And
so is that your platform that you're currently using on your farm? Is that commercially available?
Yeah, you can build your own. There's nothing stopping it. Most of it's open source.
Yeah, right.
It's just joining the dots to make a page that you want to run your farm.
And do you advise people on how to do that?
Yeah. A lot of people reach out to me on Instagram and stuff about it. And query, I'm happy to talk to anyone. Hence why I got my voice.
Yeah. Hopefully no one calls tomorrow and you can rest your voice. Well, what about, let's get to the conference, because I'm conscious that there's activities happening behind us that we want to partake in. Of those that you did see, were there any sort of standouts you went, holy shit, that's some good intel, some nuggets of gold that you went, wow, that's
Rebanks and Smith and Matt over here at 3:00 doing that landscape talk. I really enjoyed that because James asked such blunt questions because he's not from around here, as they say. And, Smith's response was just great. I loved it. And there wasn't blame laying and things. And I mean, I'm a 200-year family farm. So, a lot of that stuff's fairly aimed square at my face. It's something I didn't do. Actually, my family wasn't involved in any of that kind of purging as such or any of that horrendous history that's occurred. We acknowledge it, we see it. And it's hard doing those talks, and often it gets combative, and I'll leave, I'll back out, but I want to hear that discussion and that dialogue. And I really enjoyed that one. I did a couple of good talks as well this morning. I sort of did a talk about the 80-20 rule.
I heard it was great. I'm sorry I missed it again. Up there talking to other people. It's funny.
Yeah, I
heard a few laughs coming out of the tent.
It was a Trojan horse. Yeah, I told everyone I pissed on the tyre because I ate dog biscuits. But I wanted to try and talk about farmers taking breaks and not normalising hard work. And I'm one of the worst overworkers, and people will watch me work crazy hours and do things. But trying to say, looking at my whole farming system and a lot of my achievements over life, and then how I've had the courage to pull them back and come back to a big boring farm of just sheep and crops and dropping out the whole making cheese and all the boutique vegetables and stuff we did, which was the heart or the essence of what my father had created. So and its tensions, and I opened up and tried to call the crowd out, make them think. Yeah. I've never spoken in that kind of space before, so I was shaking with a weak voice already, and the feedback I got was amazing. I'm having an anxiety attack about it now because I always get that after I put myself out, and probably more open than I anticipated. But it was a very safe crowd and a great group to do it with, which I really enjoyed.
Well, I'm going to definitely try and track that down because I believe that the all of the presentations were videoed, and I'm not sure when they're going to be online, but that's definitely one I'm going to try and track down. Was there anyone else that you saw that you thought I'm going to make a phone call, visit a website, follow up? I
got in and out in between a couple of obligations of the Heaties, a bit of succession talk I sort of overheard through the tent wall. And that resonated a lot with me. Really enjoyed that one. And I think too, the value proposition was that just being able to chat to people as well, walking up, getting a feed, sit down, those discussions and things are always valuable. And you've got that common ground to talk about to start with, and it's a certain cohort that comes here to this, which is also great. So, and I'm sort of that big, large conventional farmer with a set of discs and plough and bare earth and all that. But I love soil health. I love community. I like empowering people to make change and be confident to fail. And I've got the gift of the gab, so I can talk about it a bit as well, and I'm not afraid to help inspire that. So so I believed in the principles of this conference, making farming better, and it's not just about soil carbon cycle or soil function or something. It's about getting in there and talking to other people and discussing it, and then having that confidence to keep coming out into your community and spread that knowledge and good word and make our landscapes healthier and our people.
Well, I was going to say exactly that. Like that was one of the sort of the standouts was, and obviously people are here, and this was put on by people, but there were talks about soil microbes and dairy and whatever else and drones. But at the end of the day, there's a real emphasis on relationships and connectedness, and sort of not so much a tribe, but just the succession stuff is another example of the people stuff. Like we often forget the people, not the issues, it's the people stuff, and your 80-20 was clearly about that. And so that puts the humanity back into sometimes some pretty bloody dry topics. And science-based topics, which is fine. But I think a lot of people would have resonated with the theme of people, because if we're not managing landscape or we're not making those decisions, landscape's fucked.
And I've grown up in it, and there's elements of my farm that just break my heart. Like the river breaks my heart at the moment. It's willows and hawthorns and crap, but I do not have any capacity to recover it. And I'm thinking about trying to get the fishermen that want to fish it. I say, well, come and give me a hand to bloody clean the river up. Let's cut some hawthorn down, put them in a pile, and get the bank clear. And I'll do my bit where I can, and let's try and heal it. But trying to find that engagement in communities is always tough. If that dialogue's not there, it's impossible. There's other parts of my farm I absolutely love. Like I love landmarking, because I actually go around all my orchid patches on the motorbike and ride through them, and I can see what's coming out and what's happening, and sun orchids are coming and these are dying off and they weren't there this year. Oh, wow, look at it here. And then you find pockets you've never seen them. And, stuff like that, looking at my flowers and also, but then looking at the feed, and I see it as a resource too. I see it as feed on offer. How many days have I got there? What am I doing? How do my stock look? What are they eating? What are they chasing? What are they leaving? And so, it's a weird thing how I've sort of kind of end up in these spaces. And
I think it's a perfect. It's the perfect natural progression. I mean, you're good at it, and making. I guess maybe one of your skills is that you make potentially complex situations simple, you know, whether it's through technology or, you know, your sort of ability to, again, you know, integrate, you know, your appreciation of farming with the heavy lifting. Sort of stuff. So now tell me what's next. We'll wrap it up pretty soon. What's next for Will Bignell? What's the next project?
A few sheep going on the truck. Weaning coming up, so we're trying to get all our weaning tucker going. Irrigation, it's just prime irrigation time. So having these big rain events lately, got a lot of moisture probes around the farm. So I'm going to go and dive into those and just see how they look after a nice bit of rain. Had a beautiful bit of rain over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to be green till Christmas. Compared to last year, I'm 120 mils more rain than this time last year.
Right.
Last year was on my knees.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to getting out, chilling a bit. I've got the Rebanks family coming.
I was going to say, that's a bonus.
Yeah, I got 2 days of them. So show them around the farm, show them up in the high country, and looking forward to just chatting with them, listening to all their books while I was planting crops this spring. So I can sort of say, you know, planting pyrethrum and listening to you, Helen, and James, you're a bit of barley and a few poppies over here.
Well, I hope you can give your voice a rest.
Yeah.
Will, thanks so much. Let's wrap it up and
thank you.
Out of the bar.